In this clip, the Hawara pyramid in Egypt and the potential mystery beneath it are discussed by Ben van Kerkwyk. Let's watch.
So the labyrinth, we're talking about the great lost labyrinth of ancient Egypt, which was described by figures like Herodotus, Diodorus Siculus, Pliny the Elder. Figures from antiquity, these authors, and they've described it as being greater in magnificence than the pyramids. Like they had these just mind-bending descriptions of what this site was, like multiple levels, 3,000 rooms. You would get lost in it. It had giant courtyards with pillars all made from, I mean, one guy, I think it was Strabo, described the roof as being a single piece of stone, which I don't think it was, but it's describing those perfect joins that you see in the real megalithic work from Egypt. So it's this giant mystery. We know it's there, and it was kind of lost to time until we found it again, basically. It was discovered, it was always known about because there were clues about its location. It was always theorized to have been at this place called Hawara, which is near the Fayum in Egypt. And, you know, Petrie went there and dug it up, Flinders Petrie in the late 1800s, early 1900s, and he found massive stone slabs, and he thought he was standing on its foundation like it had been quarried and taken away. And rather than that, it turns out he was most likely standing on the roof of like the top layer. It was like 10 meters below the ground.
Is so
he never got
nuts
quite in. But then in the Matterhorn expedition happened, I think in the mid 2017 or 2015, there was an expedition run by a guy named Louis de Cordier in partnership with the Egyptian government. They used ground penetrating radar, sonic techniques, like well established subsurface techniques, and they found it.
In 2008, the Matterhorn expedition scientifically confirmed the existence of a massive underground structure in Hawara using GPR technology. However, the high groundwater level makes the excavation and examination of the structure practically difficult. Therefore, although the term confirmed is technically correct, there are major practical obstacles to fully uncovering and studying the structure. Let's delve deeper.
They found these massive cyclopean walls that were meters thick. It was a labyrinthian structure. It's well verified. It's below the water table level of what's on that site now. So you have water table sort of 5 meters below the surface. The labyrinth starts at 9-10 meters. And there's some controversy around that report because it was buried. Like, so he found it. They never published the report. It was squashed by Zahi Hawass. This is according to Louis de Cordier. He threatened him and his team with national security sanctions if they talked about it. It just was put away.
Indeed, the claim of suppressing the report and the reaction of the authorities here reflect the tensions in Egyptian archaeology. Official authorities, especially figures like Zahi Hawass, frequently adopt a harsh stance against extraordinary claims appearing in the media that are not fully verified by scientific methods. For example, structures allegedly discovered by radar beneath the Giza Plateau, in a similar manner, were dismissed by official authorities as lacking scientific basis and amateurish. Moving on.
He waited a few years. He finally released the report. It's like, holy shit, we found the labyrinth. And then this spurred some other companies to use some of these new space-based scanning techniques. There's been at least 2 that have been done, very different techniques, but they found the same thing. They found that there is, in fact, a massive underground structure at this place called Hawara. It goes much deeper than what you could reach with those ground-penetrating radar and those established techniques. 60, 70 meters below the ground. There's multiple levels, 3 or 4 levels, and they correlate those. So one scan's a statistical model, another one is that uses high-frequency photography along with, I think, seismic data, very similar to the Doppler tomography work that's being done by the Italians at places like the Giza Plateau now. And they both correlate, yes, there's a big structure, but one of the most interesting facts that came out of this scan was it seems like in this massive central atrium that's this one big giant open rooms 40-50 meters long that connects to all of these levels. There seems to be this unidentified metallic object that's freestanding in this room. It's about 40 meters long and it seems to be tic-tac shaped is what this report said. So
the fact that a solid metal object 40 meters in length could remain intact underground below the water table for thousands of years also appears quite suspicious from the perspective of metallurgy and archaeology. Do you think such an object could exist?
So
it's a fucking UFO. There's a UFO in Egypt.
If the situation were really like that, what do you think would happen? When you think about it, it sounds amazing, doesn't it?
I don't know.
I mean,
it's tantalizing.
Could you imagine? Can you imagine if they get in there and they really do find a recovered spacecraft? Yeah, then what do we do then? Because if this
Did
is
we
a
find
public excavation, that's the question.
Yeah.
We would have to bring in the SEALs. We need to lock that place down. Maybe we need to occupy Egypt just to figure out how to fucking get this done.
Occupy Hawara. Let's just just Hawara.
You'd have to occupy the whole country. You'd have to bribe them something, give them money, whatever you got to do. Like if I was a president, that would be like my number one priority.
I mean, it has the potential. I think there's been a little bit more of this from Egypt. I guess the establishment there, they seem a little more willing to engage in some of the mystery. I genuinely do think that discoveries like these can only help and boost tourists. Like what they want is to bring people in.
Actually, I don't really believe in these things. If the Egyptian government had a UFO in their possession, why would they announce it to the world? Did they tell us what's in Area 51? They certainly did not.
It will bring way more. Could you imagine if they actually figure out a way to drain all the water out of the labyrinth? They give you a tour and show you the spaceship. How much you paying to see the spaceship?
Yeah.
Bro, I'm paying a ton of money to go see that spaceship.
That's a special permission. Like that's the way we do. They're very good at that. Like there's a lot of places you can now go in Egypt that are these special permissions. It's thousands of dollars, but
they would make so much money.
People
they could
would
charge like 10 grand. They could charge like a lot of money just to go look at the spaceship. It'd be like Mecca. Like Mecca for UFO dorks.
It would be insane to see. Depends who knows what. Well, the guy did say too. It didn't seem like any metal that he'd seen before. Like he couldn't identify what type of metal it was.
Because it's alien,
right? It's element 114
for sure. It's alien. It's made out of the same stuff that Comet's made out of. The AI Atlas.
Oh yeah, the 3i Atlas.
Whatever it is.
The thing that's off gassing some nickel.
This sounds really strange because they can't actually determine what the metal is. Egyptologists say these are not exotic or similar metals, but rather mud brick chambers or collapsed structures. And that sounds far more realistic.
Weird. So
I think the point we're getting at is, and this is the point of all these conversations, is that there's some stuff that is yet to be discovered that has previously been discovered that might be like, it might blow the dam down on all this stuff to the point where like, okay, whatever you think happened here, a lot more happened, and it seems way crazier. If the stuff underneath the Giza Plateau is correct, and if the stuff, which is like what, and if the Labyrinth, if they can show you that this not only was Herodotus depicting an actual place, but we can show it to you, and it's preserved, and it's been under the water for 50 years.
Yeah, it would be amazing, and yes, I think some of these things would knock down
everything.
It's a house of cards, right? I think there are elements of that are that are obvious. I mean, not obvious, but people can explore them, and it starts to knock down the house of cards. It's how people end up with this. Just looking at the contradictions in ancient Egypt, but
he seems to be contradicting himself a bit because initially he argued that the situation would only have positive effects and would increase tourism. Now, however, he claims that all these gains will come at the expense of that fragile structure, the house of cards he describes. Really interesting.
There are other examples of what I would say, like these things like the Matterhorn expedition that have been discovered but then sort of covered up and kept secret.
Right.
And a lot of them have to do with, you have the same tie-in with these ancient stories and accounts from history, not just from the Roman and Greek historians, but also the Arab historians, like Al-Masudi, for example, the Herodotus of the Arabs, they called him. You know, he talked about tales of these tunnels and chambers beneath the Sphinx, that there were rooms beneath the Sphinx that then led out to like 3 different tunnels.
What is your opinion on the tunnels and chambers beneath the Sphinx?
You have a number of other Arab historians from as far back as like 600 AD that have stories of getting into the pyramids and then getting lost in tunnels and chambers beneath them. Yeah, I mean, the UFO phenomena, I mean, this could have been going on for a long, long time. I certainly would include some sort of otherworldly craft as potentially one of the explanations for what that thing is beneath the ground at the Labyrinth.
Even if it's not another worldly craft, whatever the fuck was going on where someone could make a 40-meter long metallic thing thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. 40 meters is a half of a damn football field.
Yeah, it's big.
That's big.
And stick it underground for some reason.
Yeah, right? In a corridor or in a huge atrium. Okay.
Yeah.
Like what? All bets are off. If what those Italian scientists are saying is underneath the Giza Plateau, all bets are off.
To be honest, I am incredibly curious. I hope we live long enough to see the secret of the Sphinx revealed. This is perhaps the mystery in the world that interests me the most. What are your thoughts?
You're looking at something that is like as kooky as the pyramids are. That's the tip of the iceberg.
True. Yeah, that's why I wanted the Labyrinth was so interesting, because that their announcements around what these 800-meter shafts and massive cubes kilometers deep under the plateau is kind of came out of nowhere. But there are these accounts for these other places like the Labyrinth where there's some like historical legitimacy to them, like there's been accounts of them.
Thank you for watching. What are your thoughts on this topic? Write in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more. See you next time.